What's up everybody, I'm Ruby Juice and welcome to the first video in my Best North American Mods series. In this series I'm going to be taking you through the best North American mods that I've found for Farming Simulator 19. This video is going to start out with the best tractors that I've found so far. If I'm missing something and there's a great mod out there that I clearly don't know about and you want to bring it to my attention, please do so in the comments. I'm always open to finding more and better mods, so let me know what's out there and I would be happy to take a look at it. So we're going to start out in this video with a series of 6 tractors that I've found that to me are the best North American mod tractors out there right now. So from left to right we've got the John Deere 6R, the John Deere 8R, John Deere 8RT, John Deere 9R, the John Deere 9RX, and the new Holland T8. And the links to all of these mods will be in the description below, so if you're looking for any of them, check those links out, and also be sure to check out Facebook groups for these modders if they have one. So without further ado, let's get into it and check out the John Deere 6R. So the John Deere 6R US spec was created by KMN Modding. It's a base price of $228,000. It's got Michelin tires or Firestone tires, and it's got a number of different wheel setups that you can choose. The American style with the row crop tires, row crop duals, and it can go up to 300 horsepower with the 6250R. And let's start it up. So if we do a side-by-side comparison here, you notice that the US spec model does not have those rear mud flaps. But otherwise, most of the aesthetic things look the same. The US version, just missing a couple of lights out to the sides there. But otherwise, they're very similar. But what you will notice is the difference in the engine sounds. This time we'll start out with the European version and we'll drive it down the road and then we'll compare it to the American sound. So there you have it with the European and now the American. So you notice the American version has a slightly beefier sounding engine. It really sounds like it's under load when it's getting up to top speed there, and I do like that engine sound a lot better. I hope you enjoyed the comparison between the European and the US spec 6Rs, the US spec 1 being from KMN Modding. Next up, you've got the John Deere 8R series. This one was created by Custom Modding, a beautiful model, and I'm excited to show it off here. Another great North American style mod. So if we take a look at it here in the shop, it starts at $299,000 and 290 horsepower. If we take a look at the different configurations that are available for the Custom Modding 8R, you see we have a couple different configurations. You can put some front weights on it. You can change the wheel brand, so you have Firestone or Goodyear floaters. And if you use the Firestones, then you've got the option of the row crop tires, wheel weights, the row crop back duals, and the row crop full duals all the way around. And of course, you have the range from the 8245R all the way up to the 450 horsepower 8400R. So let's compare it to the Giants version, the European spec model. So right away, you'll notice a few major differences between the two models. The Giants European model has the front 3-point hitch attachment, whereas the American one does not. It only has the weight rack. The Giants model also doesn't have the marker lights that come out the side, and instead has signal lights on the front. Another big difference, obviously, is the mud flaps, just as we saw on the 6R series. And you've also got the slow-moving vehicle sign on the back of the American Spec 8R. And naturally, the tires are the most noticeable difference, with the regular tires on the European Spec model and the row crop tires with the hubs on the US Spec model. So let's hop in and see how they sound. So here we'll take the European model for a test drive. And then we'll take the US model for a test drive. And once again, you hear, as we get up to higher speeds, you hear that beefiness kick in, just as we did with the 6R. I'm not sure if it's entirely realistic that it waits until we hit about, I think it was about 25 or 30 kilometers an hour before that sound kicked in. I honestly just don't know enough about how the tractor sounds in real life to know if that's accurate or not, or if it should have started sort of right from the beginning. In any case, I do like that engine sound better with the sort of beefy sound to it. And there you have it, a comparison between the US and European Spec 8R models. So let's take a look at the 8RT series from Custom Modding. So if you take a look in the shop, it starts at $379,000 for 394 horsepower. A beautiful looking model, has the Custom Modding logo on it. And so you see the weight rack on the front. We can configure that to have different weights on it, up to 1,100 kilograms. And you can go from the 8345 RT at 394 horsepower up to the 8370 RT at 420 horsepower. Now, Custom has added a couple of different options for the wheel setup. So you have the standard tracks, you have the 3M tracks, just as we do with the Giants model. And then you've got the 3M large tracks. Let's go compare this model to the Giants European model. So if we look at the two models from the front, there are a few noticeable differences, though not too many. The biggest one that I notice is the lighting on the European version on the right, just a little bit different from that on the US version to the left. You can see the two lights on the front near the bottom there on the European version, as well as the markers sticking out sort of around the middle just in front of the tracks. Whereas on the US version, you can see the marker lights sticking out from the back over the tracks behind the cab, and also doesn't have those lights on the front. Otherwise, they're largely the same, mostly just those lighting systems that look to be different. So let's take them for a little test drive and compare the sounds. There's the European version. And here's the US version. So once again, we notice that the US version has that beefier sound to it as compared to the EU version from Giants. Kicks in a little bit later, just as it did on the 8R. And again, I don't know if that is something that's intended or something that's realistic. But in any case, I do still like that sound better, just sounds a little more powerful. So there you have it, a review of the 8RT series, the EU version from Giants, and the American Spec version from Custom Modding. Next up, we've got the John Deere 9R series, this one also from Custom Modding. I know a lot of players were excited to see this come out. Great model again from Custom Modding. Wonderful, powerful tractor from John Deere. So let's check out the different options in the shop and then we'll give it a go. So the base version comes with the row crop hubs on the wheels. Pretty standard. So the different options in the configuration here, you can put on some back weights, up to 2,800 kilograms. And then the wheels, so you've got Firestone wheels with the Firestones. You've got the different wheel measurements available. So you can have just the regular wheels with weights on the back. The duals with weights. Row crop duals with weights. Row crop triples with weights. And then if you want to change out the attachers, you've got your standard attacher. You can also add on the 3-point hitch. And then if you put the 3-point hitch on it, you can also adjust the PTO so that it also is there with the 3-point hitch. In terms of engine setup, you can go from the 410 horsepower 9410R up to the 9560R Scraper Special, which has 591 horsepower. If you don't want the Scraper Specials, you can get up to the 9560R with 560 horsepower. Since we have no European model to compare this to, since there's no 9R series in the base game, I'll just give it a little test drive and pull this John Deere disc with it to show it off a little bit. The disc is made by Taylor Farms Modding, who also has made the Michigan map and a number of other pieces of John Deere equipment. So let's give it a go. So we see here the 9R is easily pulling this massive 50-foot John Deere disc, which is actually acting as a subsoiler, but it's pulling easily at 15 kilometers per hour, no issues. I enjoy the working sounds. The engine sounds excellent. It sounds like it's really under load. It's working hard. And I really do like the look of this 9R as well. You can see a more in-depth review of the 9R on my channel. I did a standalone for it already as well. So there you have it, a review of the John Deere 9R from Custom Modding. Next up, we've got the John Deere 9RX. So here we have the John Deere 9RX series. So this 9RX was done by Taylor Farms Modding and Gaming, and it's a beast of a tractor, the biggest John Deere there is. So once again, we don't have a model in the game to compare it to, since there is no 9RX in the base game, but since it is the biggest John Deere tractor out there, it's definitely in my list of top American style mods. This is a hugely popular tractor in North America. So let's take a look at the different options that it has in the shop, and then we'll give it a test drive with that John Deere disc as well. So the Taylor Farms 9RX has a few different options that you can choose in the shop. For the design, you can choose the standard, Starfire 3000, or the Starfire 6000. Now this is just a cosmetic option. The Starfire is John Deere's GPS system. It doesn't work in Farming Simulator 19. There is a GPS mod that has been developed by Wopster that you could use, but choosing this Starfire option in the shop will not give you the GPS. You'll see right beside it there's the global positioning system option, which appears if you do have Wopster's GPS mod that you can choose. But choosing these Starfires only gives you the piece on top of the tractor that gives it the appearance of having the John Deere GPS system. In terms of wheel setups, you've got the regular wide tracks, or you can go for the row crop tracks, just a little wider set, and the tracks are a little bit narrower. And then in terms of engine setups, you've got the 9420 RX starting at 420 horsepower, all the way up to the 620 horsepower 9620 RX. So we'll give this a test with the John Deere disc as well. So I do really like the engine sounds on this 9RX. Again, sounds like it's under load. And I just think that these engine sounds are top-notch. I don't know what the 9RX sounds like in real life, but this sounds pretty realistic to me. So I'm a fan. Again, pulling very easily, 15 kilometers per hour with this disc. You can see the tracks getting dirty there, picking up the dirt, and I'm sure over time the body of the tractor will start to pick up some of that dirt as well. There you have it, the John Deere 9RX from Taylor Farms modding. I've got one more tractor to show you that's in my top 6 American style tractor mods, the American style New Holland T8. So the final tractor in my top 6 American style tractor mods that are currently out is the New Holland T8, the American style version done by NEFG modding. An edit of the Giants model that has swapped out some of the European features for American style features on the model. So we'll take a look at the different options that are available on this model in the shop, and then we'll do a comparison with the Giants European model from the base game. So the T8 American starts at $267,000 at 320 horsepower. It's got a number of different configurations that you can do. You can see the weight rack on the front. You can put different amounts of weights on it, all the way up to 2,100 kilograms. Wheel brand, you can choose between Firestone and Goodyear. With Goodyear, you're limited to only the floater tires. With Firestone, you've got a number of options. So you've got the standard row crop tires, got row crop tires with weights, rear duals with weights, duals all the way around, and duals with weights all the way around. You've also got the Smart Tracks option, or front duals with wide set Smart Tracks on the back. And of course, you can change the engine setup from the 320 horsepower up to the 435 horsepower. So we'll take this out and we'll compare it to the Giants European model. So if we do a side-by-side comparison, there aren't a ton of differences between the two models. Most notably, as has been the case with all of the American-style tractor mods, you'll notice the wheels are the biggest difference, with the European model having the wider tires on it, and the American version having the row crop tires with the hubs on the back. Of course, you can change them out, but generally speaking, the difference between the tires, the regular tires on the European one and the row crop tires on the American, that's been a difference we've noticed the whole way around, as well as the front linkage on the European model with the 3-point hitch and the PTO, and on the American version, we've just got the weight rack on the front. You also notice the lighting is different again, with the American version having the markers coming out the sides, whereas the European version does not. And also the beacon lighting on the European version is a little bit different. So let's pop in and see if they sound any different.
We'll start out with the European version from Giants. And then the American version from NEFG. So the sounds are pretty similar, not a big difference there. So we're definitely looking at the major differences being in how the models look, but that's okay. And there you have it, a comparison of the American New Holland T8 against the European T8 from Giants. The American one again being by NEFG modding. Hope you enjoyed that comparison. Well, that's it for my review of the top 6 American style tractors that I've found so far. Again, if you know of another mod that I clearly missed that should be in my top American style mods, please let me know in the comments. I would be happy to do a follow-up video with some more American style mods. Stay tuned for my next video, which will be the best American style combine mods, including the American style Ideal, John Deere S Series, and the John Deere STS Series. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.